It was 2 a.m. on a freezing winter night when Jake Miller's phone rang. Half asleep and confused, he grabbed his phone off the nightstand. The name on the screen was unfamiliar: Rebecca H. He thought it might be a wrong number. Still, something in his gut told him to answer. A soft, trembling voice came through the line. "Please, is this the tow truck service? My car's stuck near Willow Creek. It's so dark, and my phone's dying." Jake sat up instantly. He wasn't a tow truck driver. He was a single dad who worked 2 jobs just to keep the lights on. But when he heard the panic in her voice, he couldn't ignore it. "Ma'am, I think you've got the wrong number," he said gently. "But tell me exactly where you are, I'll come help." She hesitated. "You don't even know me." "I know you're scared," Jake replied. "And no one should be stranded alone in this cold." So, he pulled on his old flannel jacket, left a note for his 10-year-old daughter Lily, and drove his beat-up pickup truck into the snowy darkness. Before we get deeper into this incredible story about how one act of kindness changed 2 lives forever, make sure you subscribe to your channel name, where we share real, heartfelt stories that remind us what truly matters: compassion, hope, and humanity. Don't forget to like this video and tell us in the comments if you believe that kindness can really change someone's fate. As Jake's truck bounced along the icy country road, the headlights caught sight of a silver Mercedes off the side, nose first in a ditch. Steam rose from the hood. A woman in a long beige coat stood beside it, hugging herself against the cold. That was Rebecca Hartwell. The only daughter of the late Charles Hartwell, the man who owned half the real estate in the county. Everyone knew the Hartwell name, but Jake didn't recognize her right away. When he stepped out, she looked up, shivering. "You're not the tow truck guy," she said, her breath turning to fog. "No, ma'am," Jake replied, offering a reassuring smile. "Just a guy who couldn't let someone freeze out here." She blinked in surprise. "You came all the way out, for me?" Jake chuckled softly. "Guess I did." He grabbed a flashlight, checked under the hood, and tied a chain from his truck to hers. It took nearly an hour, but finally, he managed to pull the Mercedes back onto the road. When it was done, his hands were numb and his jacket soaked. Rebecca offered him money, a few crisp $100 bills from her purse. Jake shook his head. "No need. Just glad you're safe." She stared at him like she'd never met someone like him before. People don't just do things like this anymore. Jake shrugged. Maybe they should. The next morning, Rebecca couldn't stop thinking about him. She was used to people doing things for her: employees, assistants, drivers. But this man, he'd shown up in the middle of the night, with no reason other than kindness. A week later, she showed up at the local diner where Jake worked as a part-time cook. He was wiping down tables when she walked in, looking completely out of place among the checkered floors and coffee-stained menus. "You again," Jake said with a grin. "Car trouble?" She smiled for the first time. "No. I wanted to thank you properly." She slid into a booth. "Let me buy you breakfast." They talked for hours. About life, about loss, about how lonely the world can get when you don't have someone to care. She told him her father had passed a year ago, and since then, she'd been drifting rich, but completely alone. Jake told her about Lily, how his wife had died when Lily was 5, and how he was just doing his best to raise her right. Rebecca's eyes softened. "You must be an incredible dad." He smiled sadly. "I'm just trying to teach her that kindness still matters." Over the next few weeks, Rebecca kept visiting the diner. Sometimes she brought books for Lily, sometimes pies for Jake. They became friends, something neither of them had expected. One snowy evening, Rebecca invited Jake and Lily to visit her estate for Christmas Eve. Jake hesitated. "That's really not our kind of place," he said. Rebecca smiled. "It's missing exactly your kind of people." Lily was thrilled. "Dad, can we please go?" "Please?" And so, they did. When Jake drove up the long driveway, Christmas lights twinkled from the grand mansion. Inside, it smelled like cinnamon and pine. But what caught Jake's heart wasn't the luxury, it was how empty it all felt. Only Rebecca was there, sitting by a giant fireplace, smiling as Lily ran in circles around the tree. "I haven't had anyone here for Christmas since my father died," she said softly. "It means more than you know." Jake nodded. "Guess none of us should be alone on Christmas." They shared dinner, laughter, stories, warmth. For the first time in years, Rebecca felt something she hadn't felt in a long time: home. As the night ended, Lily fell asleep on the couch. Rebecca looked at her tenderly. "She's beautiful," she whispered. "Got her mom's eyes," Jake said quietly. Rebecca hesitated. "You know, I've spent years trying to buy happiness. Houses, cars, vacations. But last month, a stranger came out in the cold to help me, and I think that's the first real happiness I've felt in a long time." Jake didn't know what to say. But in that moment, something shifted between them. Not romance, not yet, but understanding. Months passed, and their friendship grew deeper. Rebecca started volunteering at Lily's school, donating to local causes Jake cared about. She even helped Jake start his own small repair business. When Jake protested, she said, "It's not charity. It's a partnership." And soon enough, it became clear to everyone they weren't just helping each other anymore. They were healing each other. One evening in spring, as Jake fixed the old fence outside her estate, Rebecca came out carrying 2 mugs of coffee. "I was thinking," she said, smiling. "You helped me that night with no reason, no reward. But maybe it's time I return the favor." Jake laughed. "You've already done plenty." She stepped closer. "Not enough. You gave me something I thought I'd lost: faith in people." He looked into her eyes. "You gave me something too. A reason to believe good things can still happen." That summer, Rebecca asked Jake and Lily to move into the guest house. She said it was so Lily could have a big yard to play in and so Jake could be closer to his business equipment she'd helped him set up. But deep down, they all knew it was something more. It was family. Every evening, they'd have dinner together, sometimes burnt chicken, sometimes fancy pasta, but always laughter. Lily started calling Rebecca Becca, and Rebecca started tucking her into bed at night. Jake often sat on the porch, watching them through the window, his heart full. One night, as the crickets sang, Rebecca joined him on the porch. "Do you ever think about that night?" she asked. "All the time," Jake said softly. "One wrong call changed everything." She smiled. Maybe it wasn't wrong. Maybe the universe just dialed the right number. Years later, when people in town saw Jake and Rebecca together running the community fund, hosting holiday dinners for local families, they called them the Heart of Willow Creek. And every Christmas Eve, Jake would look at Rebecca and say, "Still think that was a wrong number?" She'd laugh. "No. Just a call from fate." In the end, it wasn't wealth or status that brought them together, it was kindness. One simple act, in the middle of the night, that connected 2 lonely souls. Jake showed up when he didn't have to. And because he did, a woman who'd forgotten what love looked like found her family again. So maybe the next time your phone rings, and someone needs help even if it seems small or inconvenient, maybe, just maybe, it's the universe calling you to change a life. Because kindness doesn't just save others. It saves us too. If you loved this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to your channel name, where every story reminds us that compassion is the most powerful force in the world. And remember, one act of kindness can echo forever.